Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Sarah and my matrix number is A191954443.
Hi, my name is NURUL ATIKAH binti MOHAMAD KASIM. My matric number is A196918.
Hi, my name is NURUL HAYATI binti ZAKARIA and my matrix number is A193345.
Hi, my name is NURIZAZI SYAZWINA binti ASRI and my matric number is A194786.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to everyone. I am Sarah as a moderator for our group forum. So for today's forum, we are going to be discussed under the topic of child abuse, which is all you need to know about child abuse. So for your information, child abuse is any form of maltreatment given by an adult which is violent and threatening to the person who is below 18 years old. You see, nowadays, cases of child abuse have been increasing in Malaysia year by year. According to the statistic, each year, the cases have been reported at 2,041 cases, and in 2019 alone, the cases stood at 6,061 cases. So if we didn't put a stop into this issue, many children will be badly affected from it. So in my opinion, children are not supposed to be getting abused by their family or their parents. Instead, they should have obtained full affection and attention from their family. So for today's forum, we are aiming to give a detailed explanation to the people of how deadly child abuse can be, and we are also hoping that through our forum we will get to educate parents out there. So before we go any deeper, I would like to introduce our panelists for today. So the first one, we have Dr. Nurul Atikah, who have currently working as a pediatrician at KPJ Seremban.
Hi, Assalamualaikum everyone. I am Dr. Atikah. I graduated from University Sumatera Utara, Indonesia. And currently I am working at hospital specialist KPJ Seremban. It's almost already 5 years I've been here. And I'm working here as a pediatrician. Thank you.
Next, we also have Dr. ALYA NAJWA, who have recently gotten her PhD in early childhood education. Hi, Dr. ALYA.
Sorry, is it just me or her microphone is not working? Alias microphone. Did you guys hear what she was saying? So you need to address that, yeah? We can't hear you.
Do you hear me? Hi, my name is Dr. ALYA, and I'm currently graduated from UPM and the course Child Early Education.
Next, we also have Dr. Nurul Hayati, who currently working at University of Malaya as a doctor of psychology. Hi, doctor.
Hi, greetings from me, Dr. Nurul Hayati. I am Doctor of Psychology at University.
Last but not least, we also have Dr. NURIZAZI, who are currently working as a therapist at Gleneagle Medical Center. Hello, doctor.
Hello, I'm Dr. SYAZWINA, the therapist of Gleneagle Medical Center. I graduated from University Putra Malaysia, and I have been in this sector for 13 years currently. Nice to meet you all.
All right. So since we already know our panelists for today, let me begin our forum for today. So let me ask my very first question to Dr. Nur Atikah. So Dr. Atikah, Based on my reading, it was stated that physical abuse was the highest number of cases reported, which is at 578 cases. So I think that when it comes to abuse, the society always think of physical pain. But can you explain to us what are the other major types of abuse other than physical abuse? Thank you.
Thank you to the moderator. Okay, so first of all, the child abuse is not about physical only. So actually there are a few types, which is sexual abuse, mental abuse, or it also known as emotional abuse and neglect. Okay, other than physical abuse, emotional and sexual abuse is also well known in Malaysia actually, but it's not as high as physical abuse. So first of all, emotional abuse is actually it's including with the exploitative towards the child mental. It's actually involved with the words or action, and it's actually, for example, the adult is actually doing a demeaning or maybe cursing the child. So the next one is actually in sexual abuse. Abuse is actually usually it will be done by the adult towards the child. And actually it can be, for example, it doesn't have to be if you are doing a sexual abuse. It doesn't mean that you are touching that someone, then you are doing the sexual abuse. It can actually be without even touching the child actually. So the next one is neglect. Neglect is actually a parents or maybe the caregiver who fail to support the child based on the basic needs. For example, through their shelter or maybe food or maybe medical care for the children. That's all for me for the explanation towards the major types of the child abuse. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Atikah, for your well explanation. Surprisingly, neglect is one of the type that considered as an abuse. So, Dr. Alia, I've read that majority of victims who have been experiencing child abuse reported that they were being abused by their own parents. I thought that parents are supposed to be their safe place, right? So, can you tell us why did this can happen?
Research has identified a number of child abuse cases usually came from their parents or caregiver itself. From my readings, that the most studies of physical abuse of children demonstrate that physical violence, fightings, and domestic conflict often occur in the house. This can happen from a lot of factors. For example, substance use, unresolved mental health of issues, the young age of parents, and lack of motivation, and many more factors. From all of that factors, it can lead to parents to stress and depressed, and also the possibility for parents channel their stress to their kids also higher. So that is where the abuse will started. Parents may think that their action on that time was not on purpose, but when it's already happened too many times, the kid will not take it as a joke anymore, and surely they will keep that in their mind. And sometimes it can give trauma to their kids when they grow up. When abuse often occurs in the house, also the surroundings of home also feels uncomfortable due to so many bad energy happening in the house. So the bad surrounding of home actually can affect the attitude and behavior of the occupants in it. And I want to add that the bad surroundings is not just about the atmosphere in the house only. It's also include that the location, the size, and also the condition of the house too. This is because the discomfort of houses will dampen the relationship between the occupants in it, and outbursts of emotion and irritation may cause the parents to abuse their child. So if you want to know that most of the family from the high socioeconomy is child abuse is uncommon for them. This is because they have a lot of money and can do anything to avoid this, so they can choose the better life for them. So that is from me.
Thank you, Dr. Alia, for your explanation. So to simplify what you said just now, you are saying that parents who abuse their children are actually couldn't get control in their feelings anymore, and then they accidentally let it out to the children by abusing them, right?
Yes.
So just now you mentioned that I just want to simplify. So you're now saying just now you're saying that basically kids from that came from a rich family are not likely to be abused. And can you tell us why is that can happen?
Alright, this is because they have a strong financial, which they can easily choose what is the best for their life to avoid feeling stressed. Since we already talking about financial, actually, financial problems also one of the factor why child abuse happen. This is because money is so important nowadays, and we use money for almost every day. For example, for transport, foods, buying groceries, and other things. This problem happen because of the parents of not working and just depending on the spouse's insufficient sources of income and also lack of motivation to find job. Uh, and Congress Eater has found that economic constraint faced by parents from the perspective of psychology would increase the emotional stress, which could lead to anger and also tendencies to channel this frustration towards their child also higher. For example, normal kids usually ask for toys, snacks, and clothes to their parents, right? So, but if their parents couldn't afford to buy for them, the parents will get the pressure, and this is where the abuse started. So, for a conclusion, every parent must have strong financial and saving before having kids, because this is the best way to avoid child abuse, and we can prepare a comfortable life for our children for the future. So that is why financial problems is so important.
Thank you, Dr. Alia, for your explanation. I hope the audience understand of what you just said just now. So now we are now know what types of child abuse and factors that lead to them. Now we want to know what are the effect most of the victims experience. So Dr. Hayati, I believe you've been conducting a lot of research regarding psychology, is it? So in a psychological point of view, can you explain what are the most effect that victims have been faced?
From my psychological perspective, abused children are more prone to depression, anxiety disorder, PTSD, behavioral problems, suicidal attempts, and substance use problems than non-abused children. Child abuse and neglect can cause a variety of psychological problems and can cause victims to feel isolation, fear, and distrust, which can translate into lifelong psychological consequences that can manifest as educational difficulties and low self-esteem. Approximately 1,055 cases were recorded by Social Welfare Department throughout the country in the first 6 months in 2022. Experiencing childhood abuse is a risk factor for this mental illness and other psychiatric disorder throughout adulthood. Anxiety disorder are one of the most common psychiatric disorders in children. This distracted brain development also as a result of abuse can cause impairments to the brain's executive functions. Children who were abused also are at risk for other cognitive problems, including difficulties learning and paying attention. As we can see, abused children are often brooding and unfocused in class and cause their academic performance to drop. Children who experience abuse or neglect also can develop post-traumatic stress disorder, which is PTSD, which is characterized by symptoms such as persistent re-experiencing of the traumatic events related to the abuse. They're likely to avoiding people, places, and events that are associated with their maltreatment. They're also feeling fear, anger, shame, or other changes in mood. PTSD in children can lead to depression, suicidal behavior, substance use, and oppositional or defiant behaviors well into adulthood, which can affect their ability to succeed in school. So here I can conclude that child abuse can have a bad effect on the victim. Thank you. That's all for me.
Thank you, Dr. Hayati, for your well explanation. So what I can say that what Dr. Hayati told us now is the effect that victim has been faced, but is in terms of mental health. The thing that we cannot see, we cannot observe with our eyes. So, Dr. Atikah, I believe you are familiar with handling children who have been experiencing abuse, is it? So, how do you detect that they have been abused? Like, what are the signs or symptoms that you observe when handling them?
Alright, so first of all, based on my experience, there were a few of my patients which involved the children. The first of all, I had a patient who experienced sexual abuse. So when I met the child, first of all, he was very quiet, and when I approached him, he was like being. When I asked him a few questions or maybe about regarding to his parents, because he was alone there, and it was very weird because usually when we have to contact the parents of the child first, but he was very scared to tell us the numbers and everything. So first of all, after we contacted the parents, we had to do like a medical checkup towards the patient. So, but he was very scared to open up to change his clothes. And at the moment, we tried to comfort him first, and after I observed him, there was like a few bruises at his abdomen and in few parts of his body, which is very uncommon. So started from there, I was like, I tried to ask him first, and after that, we started before. It's actually right before I started to observe him. His behavior, he was very quiet and he wasn't really talk too much. So that was one of my patient, and the next one is actually a patient. I actually have like we call a VIP patient. The child was actually someone's. It's actually confidential, but the fact that I heard from Dr. ALYA just now, she said that the parents who have like a very stable financial, it's actually they tend to have a very less their children will have like less involved in child abuse. But unfortunately, I found one who's actually the children is actually like have a very stable family, but it's about her mental health. She's actually was abandoned from her family because her family is actually um, it's like not spending their time. And she expressed to me, she said that actually her family keep telling her to satisfy their it's what we call their perspective. It's like they are hoping for a very high hope toward her. So she's actually without their intention of the family of the parents. It's actually happened that she did a self harm towards herself, and she started to lose weight, and few things, other things that I make and observe towards her. So actually, there are a few more of symptoms other than the physical symptoms that are involving the child abuse actually. So as for that, I really hope that the society actually to be aware towards the child. It's not actually the physical abuse that is dangerous. Actually, it's actually the mental of the child, and also the I mean, like in the terms of the sexuality of them. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, but sorry to interrupt. Dr. Atika, but why most of the patient feel scared to open up their background at the first meet? Like why they scared to open up their stories? So I'm so curious about that.
All right. So actually, as an pediatrician, we are just handling with the patient. I mean, we are doing the medical checkup, we are observing them, but in terms of opening up and to be more details towards the child abuse actually, we are going to consult with the therapist actually. So once we did the medical checkup, we will call the therapist to help the children actually. But in my opinion, usually the child is afraid to open up because they have like a trust issue actually, because they feel like at home they cannot trust their family. So the child who is actually experiencing the child abuse, they tend to keep secrets from everyone. And when we in hospital, especially me as a pediatrician, I will be very friendly and cheerful towards them. So I think they kind of feel like comfortable with me. So if they try to open up a bit, but it's very time consuming for them to open up to me. So usually I'm gonna seek for um I'm sorry, what was I saying? It's actually I'm gonna ask for therapies help for this in order to help the child overcome their problem. That's all. Uh, thank you, Dr. Alia, for your question.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Atika and Dr. Alia. So I can say that what Dr. Hayati and Dr. Atika said just now, we can say that child abuse leaving a great damage to the child, regardless in terms of mental and physical. So of course, it takes time to lead from those trauma. So Dr. Shazwina, as a therapist yourself, is it important for the victim to in getting a therapy, and why is it?
Thank you to the moderator for giving me an opportunity to share the information about today's topic. So, why do I advise that abused children should see a therapist? For most children who have been abused, seeing getting a help from specialized professional with a background in working with children, it can be very helpful. As stated by Dr. Atika earlier, children have been abused physically, mentally, sexually, and also neglected. So children who have been abused, they may suffer from a range of mental health issues, including depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, or we call it PTSD, and also difficulty of trusting others. They may also struggle with low self-esteem and difficulty forming and maintaining healthy relationships. So, hence, it's important for them to seek a treatment from therapists. So far, you see why it's important. Um, see a therapist, it can assist them in adjusting to life's change more quickly and effectively. But before that, the specific situation of abuse must certainly be considered in determining the urgency of seeking professional help. Like, for example, who got abused? Was it close family members or friends? Was it ongoing? And how it has affected the child's emotional or physical health? So I know that healing from child abuse is a process that takes time. We all know about that. However, by giving the child loving support and getting them appropriate treatment, we can actually strengthen the child's potential to heal and also increase their likelihood of successful recovery. Um, Helping a child to heal is a combination of loving support from trusted adults and the help of a trained therapist or counselor. Yet, I found some parents maybe embarrassed or afraid of seeking outside assistance. Perhaps they don't want to be underestimated by those around them. Maybe they're afraid that people will judge about their children because we know that people love gossip. So maybe they are afraid, and we can do anything about it since we can silence people. Or the other probability, maybe the parents are unsure their child's chance of recovery. These feelings are completely understandable, but that's not the reason that parents should avoid seeking treatment from therapists. Instead, the parents should know that the effects of child abuse it can be far-reaching and last into adulthood if the child is not offered professional help along with family support. So that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shazwina, for your explanation. So, looks like we've about come to an end. So, let me ask the last question. So, as Dr. Hayati mentioned just now, majority of the victim will experiencing psychiatric disorder like anxiety, depression, and what more. So, as a therapist, how do you handle patients like them that who have been experiencing child abuse?
First and foremost, what you should all know about therapists is therapists are licensed medical practitioners who specialize in uh, who specialize in helping people who are mentally and emotionally disturbed and provide them with treatment and rehabilitation. For the past few years, we have dealt numerous cases of child abuse. So fortunately, we have developed effective techniques for assisting children in effectively coping with the trauma they have experienced. These techniques include talk therapy, art therapy, family therapy, and last but not least, medical approach. Um, um, therapy will begin with an assessment of the child's circumstance. Most assessment includes behavior, functioning, and history or experience of the abuse. As a therapist with over 10 years of experience, I have met a diverse range of patients, including victims of child abuse. All I can say is the child I met they have different identity. So therefore, not all children can recover using the same therapy. Like for example, if the child A has been recovered by using the talk therapy, that does not mean that child B can also recover using this therapy too. In the end, it depends on the child. It depends on the children individually. However, based on my observations, I believe that talk therapy is the most effective. Talk therapy entails a meeting with a trained therapist and discussing one's thoughts, feelings, and experience in order to gain insight, resolve problems, and improve overall well-being. Um, to help the child understand and work through the emotions, we may employ various techniques such as cognitive behavior therapy, or the other one is trauma-focused CBT, which helps the child to identify and change negative thoughts and behaviors. Um, this type of therapy can be particularly helpful for children who are dealing with negative thoughts and behaviors that may have been developed as a result of the abuse. Um, we basically will ask the children to describe what happened before, during, and after their traumatic events. But I would like to emphasize that talk therapy is only appropriate for children who can fully understand the concept of child abuse. If the child is more drawn to the world of visualization, we have play therapy for them. Play therapy has proven successfully in providing the children non-threatening environment to air out family issues. According to the professional organization Play Therapy International, up to 71% of children referred to play therapy may experience positive change. We use is an idea for young children because they have a tendency to mimic what they have seen or experienced. So during play therapy, the children will reenact his or her abusive situation through play with dolls and dollhouses, action figurines, and memory games. We use play therapy to help the children to understand what is right and wrong behaviors, to teach the child healthy coping skills, and to guide the child through the healing process. So that is all how to handle the victims of child abuse.
So thank you, Dr. NURIZAZI, for your explanation. So looks that our forum comes to an end. So to simplify of what our panelists share to all of us today, so I would like to conclude that there are many types of child abuse other than physical abuse, and surprisingly, neglect is also considered one of them. And majority of the victims were being abused by their own parents, as their parents cannot get control of their feelings anymore and accidentally let it out to all the children, and that is where abuse started. So it is important for all those victims who have been experiencing child abuse to get a therapy so that they can heal their trauma inside themselves, so that it will not affect their mental health and also people around them. So to end our forum, I would like to share a quote from the internet. So the quote sounds like, "Children should be carefree, playing in the sun, not living a nightmare through the darkness of the soul." That is all from us. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, everyone. Well done. Yeah, see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.